Hello and welcome to the 24th episode of When I Was Your Age. I'm your host, Roland Parker, coming to you from a winter storm with no snow to show for it. And as always, it is a joy, pleasure, and a treat to have you here. Today's guest is Bailey Burrow. I'm really excited to talk with her about what she's doing with photography and in her space there. Before we get started talking with her, a little bit of housekeeping as always. Make sure that you follow the Instagram at WIWYA pod. Thank you guys so much for the support. We are currently at 1,121 followers, which is a really awesome thing to see us growing week in and week out. If you're listening for the first time, consider giving us a follow, and you can do that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. You can watch episodes on Spotify and YouTube as well. And you can find the links to all those places in the link tree in the Instagram bio. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring Bailey in. Bailey, how's it going? So what's up with you? Now, have you had any immediate impact from the winter weather?
I mean, we live in an apartment, so our stairs and our balcony were frozen.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up at 6:30 in the morning and I was like, brilliant idea. Why don't I just take our salt shaker and shake it down the stairs? So it was like I had 6:30 in the morning and I was going down each stair, but I think wrong kind of salt.
Yeah. So, you need the pink Himalayan salt. So that's what I found works the best for me.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean,
Not too much.
Ellie got to stay home. He worked from home. That's about it. Made a pizza.
Yeah, it's with my work, like all of the people that are on site and like in person are in Tennessee, and they shut down like all of the counties in Tennessee. Like all of their schools are shut down. Like everybody is across. Like the fewest amount of inches that they got was like 8 inches. Like anywhere that you're at. So that I'm like a little bit envious of like the snow that they got, but I don't know, we can move around a little bit easier, I think. So that's been nice.
Nice.
What's been going on with you lately? Any trips or weddings that you've shot? What's been going on?
Well, I mean, I had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very cool.
I mean, he's 3.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been getting back into it kind of slowly, but been booking a lot for 2024 and 2025.
Wow.
I'm working with a bride right now, who is trying to fly me out to Colorado. And I've did wedding in Colorado last year, did one in Wyoming. Kind of like have the travel bug. But like going out to Tennessee and, Georgia, Alabama, but I want to move out to like the west area.
Okay.
So
it's a good deal. Well, that's so wild that 2025, like you're going that far in advance. Like, is that pretty typical for vendors and photographers?
I can't remember the stat. It's like there's like a million. I can't remember, like some kind of amount of weddings a year. So every day there's like 22,000 weddings or something. So it's like book your vendors in advance. So people book. I mean, people book like their venue like a year and a half in advance because it fills up.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't imagine like thinking about it like that far ahead. Like we were in school planning our wedding, and like obviously I'm pretty backseat in this scenario. I'm not making a lot of like the bigger decisions. So I probably am not the best representative for
That's fair.
for the planning and the immediate impact there. But yeah, that's fine. So speaking of that, if you are looking to book Bailey to be a photographer, and so make sure that you follow her on Instagram at her personal page and her photography page. You can find the link to her website as well in those places. But yeah, that'll be in the description for the podcast episode, and we've got it thrown up there in the stream as well. But to get us kind of started, I've got some get to know you questions that we like to
Okay.
ask everybody. So we'll get started with those. Where are you from, and where do you currently live?
Like born?
It's a take it however you like it. I
I
won't
mean, I
censor
was
you.
born in Kentucky in Louisville and then moved like right after to Indiana, then Montgomery. And then I've been in Birmingham, Alabama since I was like 6.5.
Okay.
So yeah,
And
it's
you live in Birmingham currently.
yes, I currently live in Birmingham.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Excellent. And what do you do?
I'm a wedding and elopement photographer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Love that. And a new mom too.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you hear the baby
What's up?
crying in the back.
No, all good. We
Yeah.
come as you are to when I was
Mhm.
your age. Um, and how old are you?
I am oh my gosh. I just turned 27.
Nice.
I'm
Yeah,
so old.
I love seeing that response from people because it's kind of come up
Ugh.
several times before. I've done it quite a bit. It feels like this age specifically, like this area, like plus or minus 2 years, like it's really hard to remember. Like,
Oh, yeah, you just forget.
hmm it's like I don't know. There's not very many like important birthdays kind of around here, so we're
Mhm.
just kind of like rocking with whatever. Um, what piece of media are you currently enjoying? So like book, podcast, music, TV show. What is that to you? I imagine maybe like a lot of like Miss Rachel or Bluey.
Oh my god. You know, I'm trying to get him on Bluey, but he refuses. He likes Cocomelon, and I can't hear that over and over and over and
Yeah.
over, and so
We tried Cocomelon one time and we were out on it pretty quick. But
so bad.
if you can get on Bluey, it's the best.
Oh
I
my
I
god.
will say it will eviscerate you emotionally.
Oh, yeah.
Just like some of the I don't know, like it because they clue in the parents to some of like
I
the things that they're
know.
talking about. Yeah,
Like,
as an example, it's there's one episode that's particularly heartrending for me is that like the mom's like sister has a hard time relating to the kids because she has like infertility issues, but it's all
oh,
like
I've seen that
oh,
one.
it's all, like, insinuated, and, like, if you're a kid, like, you wouldn't really, like,
Yeah, yeah.
understand it, but, like, all the adults are like like,
Like, oh my gosh.
it's hard, yeah, and it, like, affects, like, the sisters' relationship oh, so
Mhm.
but it's so good, love it. It's
Let's see.
I can't advocate for
What would
Bluey enough.
I'm a big music oh my gosh, he's screaming.
It's
Um,
not coming through for me, so
okay,
don't even worry about it.
I'm a big Spotify person. Like, music is just like, my family's pretty musical, and so, like, a lot of a lot of shoots that I try to come up with, like, start with me listening to music, because it's like I have this thing, it's called, like I don't know, it's like where you can, like, feel and see music, it's really weird.
So, is I feel like the word is synesthesia,
Ye
is that
yes, that's what I have, I have synesthesia, and so it just I've always had that since I was a kid, and so when I, like, listen to music, it's like these, like, photo shoot ideas just, like, boom, 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 like, pop out, so yeah,
okay,
Spotify, big one for me, and podcast, 2 Hot Takes, and I've
okay,
also listened to yours, but 2
nice.
Hot Takes, they do Am I the A-hole posts, and,
Oh, yeah.
they're pretty funny.
They're funny and really, like, jarring too,
Yeah,
like, it's
oh, oh
because
my
like,
gosh.
if it's jarring when, like, somebody's in a really tough situation and also when somebody is, like, so clueless as to,
Oh,
like,
I know.
"Oh, no, you're the a-hole for sure. I'm not sure why
Mhm,
you're asking," like,
mhm,
and I can't grasp why you don't feel that, like, for yourself,
exactly.
like, we're sitting in the awkwardness here, yeah. The no, I that's good. Any particular musical artists to get you in that headspace like you mentioned?
I really like Ode do you know who Odessa
Sure,
is?
yeah,
They're kinda like EDM, but n like indie,
yeah.
I guess? And I'm a big Arizona fan, I don't know if you know them.
I feel like I've
It's
heard a
like all
couple
capital
songs and I've
Arizona.
yeah, um, nice, okay, very. Very
Yes.
cool. It's a, well, what I had a question
Yes.
about that a little bit later, and I'll get more specific with it when we approach that. Um, what is something that you consider a luxurious necessity? If you need some examples, I'll throw some out to you.
Okay.
Okay, so for me personally, the one that I kind of always go to is like a nice cup of coffee. Like it for me, it tends to blur the line of like something that I is like part of my routine and but is also kind of luxurious. It's extra, but I'd still want and need it there. So it's like
Oh my gosh.
it's a I'd be intrigued to hear your answer. Some answers that I've seen is like the car that people drive. They're like, I spend so much time in it, so like I want it to be a certain amount of nice because I'm going to be in it for a while, a good portion of my life. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
is anything kind of coming up for you? It's a could be related to work, it could be related to just like everyday
I
life,
spend I spend a lot of money on gear.
gear for
Like,
like photography.
yeah. I don't know. This is kind of a really weird one. I would say hair products.
Okay. No, there you go. That's perfect. Okay. Is that it's anything like in particular, like a specific one?
There's my
It's a,
husband. um, bye.
it's a,
um, oh, and my dog's in there. Okay.
it's a
I don't know. I just have really curly hair and like really fine hair. This is so boring. It just I need like one of those little bonnets, that people sleep with. But I know I just spend a lot of money on hair stuff because my hair is like a baby's butt. It's just really soft and fine.
nice. Very very cool. So we're spending a lot of money on that. Like you're not willing to concede. Like I'm not getting
Oh,
the
I ain't
cheap
getting the
stuff.
drugstore stuff.
No,
Mm-mm.
it's not getting the cheap stuff when it comes to
Yep.
hair. Awesome. Cool. That's perfect. Do you have any bits that you're doing? Any inside jokes, running jokes, anything like that?
Any bits?
Yeah, a bit. Like for me, oh man, I had a really good example that I was try, trying to think of.
Good thing you can edit this, right?
Oh, it's yeah, I can, but I never end up doing it.
I'm
I
just
just let it
kidding.
run. Oh, it's a lot of like new girl quotes for me
Oh
and
my
Tabby.
gosh.
And
Yes.
so if one of us like says something that is like a little like off our rocker, like it's clear that like we're like coming apart a little and like we're being just a little like loosey goosey, like kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say the piccolo line, like when they're like taking the kids to scope out the private school and the mean guy, his kid, they've like coached him up to be like this perfect child, and you see that he can like play the piccolo really well and all this stuff, but like he snaps and like breaks down, and he's like just saying like rocking in the fetal position, rocking, saying like piccolo, piccolo. That's a so if I'm having it come apart, or Tabby's having it come apart, or one of our kids is having it come apart, I'll be like piccolo, piccolo. So
Okay.
it's not one of the funnier parts of the show, but it resonates with me for some reason. So anything like that that
Ellie and I are like really big, like SpongeBob quote
mm,
people.
okay,
Like,
that's perfect. It's a
uh,
what's one that that shows up for you guys a lot?
the one where he's like, soiled it.
Yeah,
We say
perfect.
like my leg,
Mm.
and then the oh, what's the one where it's like, oh, whenever like one of us is in the bathroom, we're like, my best friend's in there, and he's like, congratulations.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like especially for our age, like that's that it's like quoting Vines and quoting SpongeBob
Oh,
or like the two
100%.
those are that's like the easiest way to get in with somebody
Mm.
is to go that route. Love that. Um, all right. So I asked this question to everybody, and we compile the answers into one playlist,
Okay.
which you can access in the link tree. I've got the Spotify playlist up, but if you could replace the national anthem with any song on your playlist, what would that be? And tell me a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, what kind of question is that?
I get a lot of good answers. It's because people go a bunch of different ways with it.
Hmm.
The mental image that I conjure up a lot too is like, how ridiculous would it be if I was at a sporting event and the announcer like comes over the speaker and it's like, please rise for the
Yeah,
national anthem. It's a and whatever song starts playing. Like, is it? I would bust out laughing if, and some good answers I've gotten for that is My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas. So
that's a good one.
yeah, super duper funny. But I've also had people go the other way of like Freebird, Fortunate Son, like,
What I was
you know,
thinking.
it's at like evoking some patriotism in and of
Hmm.
themselves, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, like what? Tell me what you're thinking.
The first one that came to mind was that song like Booty 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 Rockin' Everywhere.
Oh, Miss New Booty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
So just
That's
I
yeah,
think I'll go with that.
nice. Full stop. Don't need to
Yeah.
elaborate any further. Lo-
Mhm.
Love that. Okay, and then last question is, how do we know each other?
Oh my gosh. Um, we went to high school together. I met Roland. I'm going deep, okay?
Okay, sure.
I'm going deep. So Roland and I met at the lunch table at Vestavia Hills High School. And at the time, I think him and Margaret, am I allowed to say names?
So sure, say whatever name you want.
Him and Margaret, I'll do first names. We're not together or something like that. And so it was like me, you, Ben, Margaret, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Roland's so cute." And and then Roland and I had been like texting or something. How old were we? Like 15 or
Yeah.
something. And then Roland backstabbed me. And was like, I actually have feelings for my other girlfriend. I mean, my ex or whatever, Margaret. And then they started dating, and I was like, screw you. And then I didn't talk to him. And then our senior year, we started pole vaulting.
Hmm.
I was pole vaulting, and then he joined the pole vault team. And then we just did workouts together. And then Roland probably watched me like die on the sidelines every day because I can't run or anything. So,
Yeah.
but,
Perfect. There you
and
go.
then yeah, I think that's it. Pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome. And then Bailey took our family pictures.
Yes.
It's here recently, and they turned out great. I meant to say too, my aunt commissioned um like a painting like portrait of like both of our girls, and she used
Oh.
to some pictures that you took like as the references, and so they're up in our dining room right now, which is it's cool because it's like a gift from her and the work that the artist did, and it's
Oh, so cool.
referencing it's pictures that you took, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, love it. All right, well, let's dive in a little further then into your journey with photography. So I'd love
Okay.
to know, how did you get started with photography? Did you like wake up one day, or was it kind of like a slow build into venturing out into that?
Honestly, like I've always loved like doing pictures. My best friend and I in middle school I would be like, let's go dress up and take uh like dramatic photos in the grass and things like that. um but I originally had majored in therapy at Sanford to do counseling and everything. So that was my path. I felt like, that's what I was being led to do. And ooh, I got a screaming baby. And I can't think.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it takes over.
but
We get it.
so college, I've never really liked school. I've never been great at school. I'm more of like a people person, not good with books. I'm street smart sometimes, but books are just not my forte.
Sure.
So I did not do great in college. I was really sad in college. So it was really hard for me to go to class. I was depressed, espresso. Um, and so, God willing, I graduated, and I was like, I guess like next step is apply for my master's because you can't do counseling without your master's. So I applied, and of course, like I didn't get it. My GPA was awful. It was like I think it was like a 2.7 or something. Um, and of course, I was like, "Oh, I'm so sad, whatever." And then at that time, Elliot and I were engaged. And so um I I had like this little camera. My brother has done photography like his whole life. He loves
Mhm.
it. He's like an outdoor photographer. He does weddings. He's a graphic designer for Dave Ramsey. So I've always kind of looked up to him, and he's like, taught me everything, how like cameras work and blah 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 blah. So I started off just doing like landscapes and everything, and just trying to get like pictures of the stars and whatever. So I think I started photography when I hired my photographer for our wedding. And I honestly, like, I really don't know how I got into it. I think she was like, hey, I asked her, I said, like, hey, can I come with you to a shoot one day? And she said, yeah. So I drove all the way to Troy just like to do like a 30-minute shoot with my little Fujifilm camera, my little mirrorless Fujifilm. And that kind of like kicked it off. And so fast forward, our wedding comes, and Elliot gets COVID 5 days before our wedding.
Oh, man.
And yeah, so Elliot gets COVID, and then I get strep. And let's see what else happened. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and so basically I have to cancel the wedding, and I tell my photographer like, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but like we have COVID, and this is just like this is not gonna work." And it was from one of my bridesmaids,
Mm.
Grace. You remember
Yeah.
Grace? So it
It's
was
a
from one of my.
Oh, you're gonna air it out for her.
I'm gonna air
Mhm.
it out. I'm gonna air the dirty laundry. So it was from Grace, and we like all met one night, and then she gave it to all of us. She was asymptomatic,
Mm.
and I was
Wow.
like, just so you know, like you ruined my wedding, but not really. I'm not mad. I don't care. Anyway, so that money that we saved from like not going on our honeymoon, not paying for a photographer, I was like, hey, Elliot, can I buy a camera? And he was
Okay.
like, he said, yeah. And so I bought my first Canon. It was a Canon 5D Mark IV. Um, I bought it off eBay, which I don't recommend doing that if you're getting photography. Do not buy off eBay. That's so risky. Um, so I bought it off of eBay, and um, I can't like remember what my first wedding was. It was like with a friend or something.
Mhm.
But I started doing like free shoots for people and be like, hey, like I need to build my portfolio. Can I do this? Can I do this? And so all my friends would need like engagement sessions and things like that. I started just like building up, and then I would go to these things called like styled shoots where you pay a certain amount of money,
Mhm.
and then they have models there and you get to pose them, and that like really like boosts your portfolio.
Yeah.
So that's basically like how I started everything, and then I've just like gone from there.
Wow, that's really cool. It's Well, I love the pivot too from, like, like, in that moment, like, you had some aspects of your wedding, like, falling apart, and then from there, you took that and turned it into this passion, which is now a big part of, like, your business and what you do now,
Mhm.
which is such a cool cool thing to be able to do. I don't,
Yeah.
I'm sure that you didn't imagine that, like, in that moment, you were just really bummed uh,
Yeah.
about everything. But that's cool. So, one thing that I notice about your Instagram, it kinda specifically notes, elopement. So, like, why does that resonate with you? Or why is that a focus for you?
First of all, weddings are a lot of money, and I've kinda learned from planning my own wedding, and I've helped plan, like, a bunch of weddings. I learned that weddings aren't really for you. Weddings are for other people,
Mhm.
'cause there's just so much pressure, people get their feelings hurt and la, 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 so much money. So, like, just, like, go with, like, the person you love, the people you love, like, a small group, and just, like, go elope. And it's so fun with elopements because, like, people will use that money that they would spend on a wedding and, like, go travel. So, like, people will elope in Italy and, well, I don't know, wherever, and like, they'll be like, "Hey, can I fly you out?" And you're like, "Yes,
Mm.
I would love that." And so, like, they have the money to do that, because,
Because
like,
it's not going towards, catering
yeah,
for
yeah,
150, 200 people. Yeah.
yeah, like, my best friend's getting married, and her wedding is 500 people, and I'm like, "That sounds
Wow.
absolutely miserable."
That's
Like, no.
Yeah, that seems really hard. We had around 200.
Oh gosh,
And
no.
it was awesome. It was a great crowd, but there are elements of getting, shuffled around, like
Mhm.
taking pictures and getting cornered and, like, people talking to
Oh,
you
yeah.
and stuff. So, um, yeah, I see the appeal. I don't know that we would've gotten away with it. I think we would've gotten in trouble
Oh,
if we
most
tried.
people get pissed. They're like,
Yeah,
mom's like, "Nope, nope, we're having a wedding."
yeah,
And you're like, "Okay, okay."
okay, exactly. But so how did you get into, like, elopements there? Did you kinda stumble into that, or was there tell me about that?
Um, I think I, like, just changed my Instagram bio, and I was like, "Wedding and elopements." And, 'cause people will see that and be like, "Oh, like, she does that."
Kinda
But also with styled shoots, they kinda do, like, styled elopements, and so they'll see that, and it's kinda tricky because people don't actually know that it's a styled shoot. They'll be like, "Oh, she did an elopement," but they're like, "Oh, no, it's actually a styled shoot," which is fine, it's for your portfolio, but, um and then people will, like, reach out, and it takes a lot of time. Like, I remember complaining to Elliot being like, "I'm never gonna book anything," and, now I'm, like, getting inquiries, like, every day, and, it just, like, takes a lot of time to build up. But
Mhm.
with elopements, I don't remember my first elopement. I think I just did a bunch of styled shoots, and then people saw that, and they were like, "Oh, like, her work is whatever, like, we love your work," and so they would book me for that, and then it just kinda gets the ball rolling when you get word of mouth and you start tagging on social media and things like that, and Facebook.
Yeah, that's great. Um, so we had a guest a while back that is a wedding planner, and a
Oh,
coordinator. And it just works in, like, events, like, in a great capacity. So one thing that I talked about with her was, like, so when you're attending these events, and it's not one that you've built out, does it change the way that you look at it? Like, are you looking at the decorations and stuff? And she's like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't even like attending my friends' weddings. I would rather be planning it. Like, I enjoy it more to, like, be the planner, like, help facilitate it and go along." So my question to you is, like, how have you, like, attended any weddings, like, since becoming a photographer, and it's, like, changed the way that you, like, look at stuff?
oh, like, 100%, like, I feel like I've become, like, a little bit of a snob because 'cause I'll go to a wedding and I'll see this photographer, like, taking photos, and I'll be like, "Ooh, that lighting is not good. I don't know why she's doing that. Ooh, like, she does not need to be doing that." Or, like, I don't know, like decorations. Mostly I like really pay attention to lighting and like how everything is set up. And I really pay attention to like how venues are built because a lot of venues are dum-dums and don't pay attention to where like the sun sets for
Mm,
like photographers and for weddings. And so like if you're shooting, like a ceremony spot and it's like in direct sunlight, you're like, why didn't you think about that before you built it?
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think I just like pay more attention to detail, but I try to have a little fun, have a couple drinks and not worry about it.
Yeah.
So
That's, that's good. So you find yourself looking at, like, especially, like, the venue stuff of, like, y this brick wall needs to not
Mhm.
be here, and, like,
Yeah,
we need to rotate this whole thing 90 degrees so that
exactly.
for golden hour and such. Um, one thing that I feel like if I was a photographer, like, just starting out, would be the most intimidating is, like, pricing, and
Oh
won't
my
ask
gosh.
I won't ask you to, like, go into detail about what you
Oh,
do
no.
now, but, tell me a little bit about, like, figuring out and, like, towing the line of, like, what you need to do with your pricing, because that seems just awful to me.
What do they call it? Like imposter syndrome or
Mhm.
something?
Yes.
Um, where you're just like comparing all of your work. I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest challenge, like getting through like becoming a photographer is looking at your work and being like, oh, well, they charge this much, but like, oh, I'm not that good. Or,
Mhm.
like things like that. And um, I think I had someone kind of like mentor me a little bit. I still work for her sometimes. Um, and now she's been in the business for like 9 years or something. And I was like, I need you to sit down and look at my work and I need you to price me like what you think like I
Mhm.
whatever. And so she did that and we went through it. And then it's like every year, like you up it by like this amount, or this amount, or this amount. And it's like you have like a la carte, like adding things on there. And it's really hard though, because you're like, well, I'm not good enough for this amount of money. I remember, I think my first wedding it was like $150. And I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
oh my gosh.
Dude,
Like,
I would do it for $150, and, like, I
no.
feel like you'd yeah, that's
And now I'm like charging, I don't know.
you can go into specifics or not, but, like, I imagine that was, like, a really that was, like, a hard thing to, like, try and figure out. So, like,
Oh, yeah.
you had, like, a mentor, like, help, like, take
Mhm.
a more outside view and be like, "I would go higher on this, I'd go lower on this, or I'd, like, it's that your rate needs to be higher here," like,
Right. And
that
a lot of times I still feel, like, pretty guilty, like, I would say I'm, like, on the lower end of pricing because, first of all, my parents were like, "Here's, like, 8 grand, do with it what you will,"
mhm,
and it's like, that's nothing for a wedding, and so "Ooh, like, I need to, like, find a budget photographer," and so, like, I'm not really worried about the money. I mean, like, it's nice to have money and, to save it back, but what we try to do is, like, live off of, like, what Elliot makes and, like, what I make kinda, like, stick back into savings, so I'm not worried about, like, overcharging people, like, I try to stay
yeah,
with, like, the average.
mhm. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, thank you for talking about it, because I feel like that's, like, one of the more intimidating
Mhm,
pieces is, like, you mentioned the imposter syndrome, and I feel like that's, for people who are selling goods like that, where it's, creating art or, taking pictures and stuff, and it's very there's a subjective piece to it,
mhm,
then it's really hard to, like, try and stick a number on there.
for
Um,
sure.
so, tell me about working with friends and family, because I noticed on your page just, like, the joy that seems to come out when it's, like, a cousin or, like, a friend you've known for a long time, or, a other family member. Is tell me about getting to be there in those moments for that.
I will say they always say you never mix business and family.
Mhm.
And they're partially correct. But I mean, I love doing photos of my friends and family. Like I do like a friends and family discount and things like that. Um, but when you are responsible for photos of a family member or a very close friend,
Mhm.
it's a little scary because that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And money and photos do weird things to people. I've heard crazy
Mhm.
stories, and people get sued. Even friends and family will sue each other for photos.
Ooh.
Um, and so that's why I make people sign a contract. Even my friends and family, I'm like, I love you, but you have to sign a contract because it's just for my protection and for your protection.
Yeah.
Um, so I love it, but at the same time, sometimes it's like, oh, we expect you to bring your camera with you. Like, oh,
Mhm.
this birthday party, bring your camera, which
Okay.
I don't mind at all. Like, I know people are gonna see this and be like, oh crap, like I shouldn't have asked her that. But honestly, I don't mind. Like, I love capturing the memories and um, things like
Yeah.
that.
I imagine that it'd be pretty hard when it's something that you like to do,
Mhm.
and, like, you found this passion for it, but it's also intertwined with, how you make money. So,
Right.
like, I've seen that in, like, Tabby's work before, where it's like, like, do I need to be charging this person
Mhm.
because they, like, reached out, or, like, do I need to offer them, like, any kind of specific rate? Like, it's a weird, like, line to toe,
Right.
'cause it's just like, I don't know what they're expecting. I don't
Right.
know what I should be expecting here. Um, yeah, that's interesting. Also, is it a little weird, like, knowing that you have a greater chance of maybe running into that person, and they're like, "I didn't like my engagement photos," or, like,
Luckily, I've never had that.
"That's good."
I've had a couple bridezillas, but
Sure. You can't not, if you're gonna work
and
in wedding, yeah.
groomzilla, one groomzilla,
Really?
I will
Okay,
say.
interesting.
Yes.
That's a yeah, I hope I wasn't a groomzilla. I really doubt it, but it's a
I'm
did
sure you
black
were. I'm
out
sure you
did
were.
black out there for a while, so I coulda wrung some necks. Um, so what do you kinda look to for inspiration, just, like, in the style in which you shoot, or the different ideas? I imagine a lot of, like, the different, like, accounts, like, on, social media and stuff, but are there other places too?
I actually had this conversation today. Music, like I said, music is a big one.
Mhm.
Um, and sorry, get a message. Um, Inspiration too, and like my style and how I edit. Oh my gosh, that took me so like long because like learning. I'm going down a rabbit trail, but
Yeah, let's do
like
it.
learning Lightroom and things like that. Like when I
Mhm.
go back and see like my work from 3 years ago, I'm like, disgusting. I'm like, "Oh, no." And so, but I definitely get inspirations from, like there's some like India Earl, that's like a photographer that I really like, and who else? I kinda just, like, go on the explore page and
Okay.
see what I can find, but music is a big one, trying to think. I base my style I try not to go, like, the same way that everyone goes because right now everyone is, like, trying to do, like, the whole, like, editorial, you know what editorial is?
Mm-mm.
It's
It's
like
a why
it's
don't
like
we talk about
magazine,
it?
think of, like, magazine, like
Okay.
Vogue,
Okay.
and, everyone's trying to go, like, editorial and, like, really vintage and, like, film and stuff, which is awesome, like, I love film. Elliot does film. It's great, but, like, most people aren't gonna, like, book a wedding with like I wouldn't say that, some people do, but, like, I try to, like, stay in the middle. I don't try to be, like, the vintage, and I don't try to be, like, the Alabama bright and airy,
Mhm.
like,
Well,
I
I
just
would
try to
imagine
stay in
too,
the
like,
middle.
if that kind of style doesn't resonate with you, then if someone was asking you to, like, "Hey, can you shoot in this style?" It's like,
Oh
why,
gosh,
like,
no, I don't do that.
just like, "Hey, don't ask me to shoot in a specific way, like, go find
Right.
somebody style that you like and
Yeah,
ask
I'll be
them
like,
to do it."
"Here's so and so, like, they're great."
Mhm. So,
But,
like,
like,
have
I'm
you had to
like,
turn people away before because they were, like, trying to
yeah.
interfere with the process too much?
I did have to I had a bride that was like, "We love light and airy," and so I was like, "Okay, well, like, I don't do light and airy, but I guess I will." And so I did that, and it was just a nightmare because, like, I just it just wasn't it wasn't my work, like,
Mhm.
my edits and everything, and so, yeah, I will turn couples down. I'll say like, "Hey, thanks for reaching out. What's your vision for your day? Blah, blah, blah." But most people have seen my work on Instagram and Facebook to know like, "Oh, this is how she edits," you know?
Right. That's good. Yeah, it's good that you don't experience that a lot. I feel like that would be so awkward to be like, "Well, it's like just it's not really what I am
Mm,
about, but and I don't wanna do the homework for you, but, like, if it'll get you off my back, like, go look at these people. I feel like you'll like them a little better." Um, so we've mentioned the piece about music and the
mhm.
creative process. Like, what does that kinda look like? And is there other stuff besides music that you do to help prepare yourself for, a shoot? Like, do you go on a walk, or is it like kinda cleaning your equipment? What do you do there?
This is kinda bad, but a lot of times I actually kinda wing it. Um, I'm like night
Okay.
before, like, charging my things. And that's how I've always been like that in school. Like, I'm just not a person that, like, prepares, like, days in advance or,
Mhm.
obviously, I have, like, SD cards and everything, but, like, I kinda have to wing it to, like it's like procrastination, like, you do better if you procrastinate, and not that
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
procrastinating, like, all that, but, like, I kinda, like, come up with the idea, and I'm like, "Okay, we're locked in," and then, like, I just kinda wing it from there. But, sometimes I'll have a screenshot, like, a lot of photos, then I'm like, "Oh, that would look really cool," and so during the shoot, I'll, like, pull it up on my phone and be like, "Hey, we're gonna do this." So that way I at least have, like, something tangible to show them.
Mhm.
So but preparing wise, I mean, gotta have my coffee, 100%. That's,
Okay.
like, the ritual. I've gotta have a
Yeah,
coffee or, like, a Red Bull to, like, get me up and going.
gotcha. Love that. And so, how long are you, like, listening to the music for to kinda let that get the groove going?
I'll, like I'll give it, like, 30 seconds to see, like,
Really?
if I'm, like, feeling the song, maybe, like, feeling a vibe, and then if I'm not feeling it, like, I'll go to the next song. And then
Okay.
if I like, an idea pops in my head, I'll like, "Oh, like, I need to write it down." And so it's like, if I hear a song and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can just, like, envision this shoot," and just, like and just envision it, like, with the music and everything, and so I'll just, like, write it down so I don't forget it.
Nice, okay. Yeah, and I imagine that we talked about the synesthesia piece, like, ha
Mhm,
being able to use that as a tool, I feel like is really, u unique and just like, "Alright, I'm gonna let it kinda flow here. I'm not gonna try and
mhm,
plan it out too much because, like,
right,
I know it'll." Yeah, that's really cool. Well, kinda in all of this this is a question that I like to ask everybody is, what impact have you seen yourself making? I imagine that there's a lot of emotion tied to, these pictures that you're
mhm.
producing. People kinda come back to them for a specific time in their life, remembering their wedding and stuff like that. But what impact have you seen yourself making in that way?
Um, there's this quote that I actually have on my website, I'm looking it up. I said, Capturing photos is not only for you, but for the generations that follow behind." Because, like, just photos are just so important, and it's so funny that, like, I grew up wanting to be, like, a therapist and a counselor, and obviously, like, that's not where God has placed me in the moment. Maybe down the road, maybe I'll go back to school, we'll see. But the amount of, like, stories that I talk to people about who, like, use me as their therapist is, like,
Mhm,
actually allowed me to, like, take in what I've learned from, like, my therapy, like, classes and things, and, like, actually let me do, like, really like, what I wanna do, like, what I have a passion for, which I have a passion for photography, but, like, really, like, serving people and, like, dealing with mental health and things like that, like, I've been able to use that in my photography, so it's not just all about the photos,
mhm.
it's about, being able to, like, serve others.
That's cool that you there was, like, an intertwining of, like, those 2 things of,
Yeah.
like, "This is what I set out to do originally, here's the pivot, and now
Mhm.
they one helps me to achieve the other." That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like seeing that. I've seen kind of a similar thing, like, in my own career of, like, I did not set out to do human resources,
Mhm.
like, I wanted to be a camp director like that. It's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm wearing a camp shirt right now, um, but, in that, there's a lot of, like, skills that I learned from working in a camp setting that have helped me to, I think, be more approachable, for, a lot of the people that I get to work with,
Mhm.
and I've seen how it, has affected them and has I don't know, improved the way that I can be
Right,
helpful to them.
right.
So it's really cool to hear you say something similar. Um, what's in the future for you?
Man, that's a good question. Um, I would love, love, love to book something overseas,
Okay.
um, in a different country. That's
Anywhere in
probably not
particular?
likely. If I could go anywhere,
Yeah, anywhere in particular that you would really hope to go to?
I'd probably say either Greece or Iceland.
Okay.
Not a big cold person, so I would say Greece is at the top of the list.
Greece over Iceland. That's
Yeah,
it
for
if you had to
sure.
pick. Love that.
Um, but looking to travel more, um, I don't know because, like we're a family now, like we have a kid,
Mhm.
and as much as, being able to stay and work from home is awesome, I lose out on those weekends with my son. And so it's like in all of April, I'm booked every Saturday, some one wedding Friday and Saturday. So it's like, you know, you always say like they grow up so fast and they really do. And so it's like, well, it's kind of sad. Like,
Mhm.
um, so I don't know, like I might take less weddings,
Yeah,
like in the future. Just it depends on, if we want another kid or not.
yeah.
But I really would love to travel more for sure. And I don't know, maybe bring little baby along.
There you go. It's a good enriching experience for little rat. Love that.
Yeah,
Okay, so for this section of the show, what we do is have the previous guest ask a question to the current guest, and then
okay.
we kind of pass it along. So
Alright,
I'll
Danny,
I'll ask you the question from Danny, who is our last
my
guest,
boy.
and then from there, I'll give you the opportunity to ask the question for the next episode.
Okay.
Um, so Danny's question was, would you rather get $50,000 in cash immediately or flip a coin for 3,000,000?
Oh my god!
See, I it's a good question, and
That's a great question.
I'll let you answer, and then I'll kind of throw in my piece there. But I'm interested to hear what you got to say.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea because you got a 50-50 chance. But
Yeah.
then, if you take that 50,000 and you invest it,
Mm-hmm. It's a get some new photography equipment. Dude,
but you could
it's a
invest
tough one.
it and then
It's
Imma
a tough
invest
one.
it in, like, stocks and stuff. Oh my gosh.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one. I think the amounts are, like, just right to really kinda bring it home on making it a hard one.
Honestly, I think I'd flip a coin.
You think so?
I
Okay.
think so.
I think that I'm also flipping the coin.
Yeah, I think I would.
It's if we miss, that's tough.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting the 50,000 like anyway, but I feel like if you take the 50,000, you're always going to be wondering like, should I have gone for the 3 million? Maybe. I don't,
exactly.
and it's maybe I'd feel differently at different times of life too. So who
I
knows?
mean,
All
I don't
right.
know. No
Well,
harm, no foul.
yeah, that's true. Um, any question that you want to ask to the next guest?
Does it need to be really hard?
Oh, no. No. I've had people go really, really deep and kind of thoughtful and pensive. I've also had people going just kind of like fun, like icebreaker questions. So we're all over the place. This is one area that I really like to let the guests kind of go whichever way they're feeling. So is there a question that you like to ask someone if you're
Okay.
like getting to know them
Yeah,
for the first time?
I have
All
one.
right, let's hear it.
Under or over?
Under or over?
Yeah, you know what that means?
Are we talking in like a betting sense?
No.
No.
When you use the bathroom.
Oh, it's a under for the toilet paper?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Are you under or over? That's what I want to know.
nice. Love it. Under or over for the toilet paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
What
Well,
are you?
it's a I for the longest I was over, and I think that I still am too.
You
And
better be over because people who are
it
under are psychopaths,
it's
man.
a yeah, and that's like how I felt too, but I saw something that it was like you can help not waste as much by going under, and I'm like, ah.
How?
I guess that you can like stop it and like what and like swipe it off a little more. Like you can break off the pieces. That's a little bit easier,
Okay.
allegedly. But if we remove that piece and like just like personal history over all the
Over. Okay.
way, and and that's probably still what I am too. So what about you? So you said over then.
Oh, 100% over.
Yeah,
You just go, just let it.
it's a pile it up on the floor.
When I
Yeah.
come over to y'all's house Friday, I'm going to check all your bathrooms.
Yeah, it's all over. It's
Okay.
no wonders here. Love that. All right. Well, it's any parting thoughts before we close it out for the episode?
Um, any closing thoughts? I don't
Eh,
know. I don't know. I really hope you book me for your wedding. But,
It's a good
um,
deal.
I don't know. I'm just really happy and blessed to be where I'm at, and I think I definitely would not be able to be where I am like without definitely like the blessings of God for sure. I feel like He's blessed my business, and like I'm not like this famous photographer, but like how far I've gotten is definitely because of Him. So
Mhm. That's awesome
yeah.
and great to hear. All right. Well, if you have made it this far in the episode, what I'd like for you to do is send a screenshot of you listening or watching or whatever. Do it on like your Instagram stories and pair it up with an emoji of your choosing. Bailey, what's a good emoji that people should use for this episode? Maybe a camera emoji.
Camera, you can do the poop emoji.
It's a camera or poop emoji or both together in your screenshot
Yeah.
when
Mhm.
sharing that you've made it to this point in the
Mhm.
episode. But that is going to conclude episode 24 of When I Was Your Age. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to Bailey for being here, and we will catch you in the next one.